Hey guys, what's going on? Today I'm going to be building this medieval church set that I honestly think has one of the best designs out there, so be sure to stick around for the detailed review. This church set will also be available on my website, so check the link in the description if you're interested. But without further ado, let's get into the speed build. And there you have it, guys. What a build that was. I'm pretty sure it's the largest set that I've ever built on camera. You can see that there are a few extra pieces, including a lot of these extra flower elements, which will be useful, but some of the stem pieces that are included in the set don't actually fit the flowers too well, so the connection is a little loose. Just something I thought I'd mention. I'll probably end up changing some of the stem pieces. The church itself looks amazing. I love the details on the exterior. Starting from the front here, we have the main entrance, which consists of a double door, which is really nice. I personally didn't have them before, so it's nice to get them here. We also have torches on either side, and I also like how this stone door frame here adds a little more depth to the overall look. There's also a barrel on the left side and some olive green sprinkled around, which you'll see more of as we get to look around the church. Moving higher, you can see that there are a lot of details on the walls, with those protruding pillars having the alternating gray pattern. There's also an interesting use of a round 4x4 gear piece, which is used as a window here, and it really works here. On the left side, we have this tower, which I think is pretty well done, with some olive green and sand green sprinkled throughout the wall, making it look slightly weathered. Maybe this is an old church, which oftentimes was the case. The church would have been the oldest standing building. There is also an arrow slit technique at the bottom here. Now, I actually think it's more realistic to have the slope side of those wedge pieces on the inside so that there's more space for an archer to actually shoot through the arrow slit and angle his shot. It also looks better in my opinion, so I'll definitely be inverting those slope pieces for more realism. Moving on to the upper part of the tower, there are a couple of these thin arched windows on each side of the tower, and above that we have some of these medieval styled brown window frames with black diamond shaped grills. And this is actually where the bell is located, which I'll get to when we take a closer look at the interior. You can also kind of see it there. But at the very top of the tower, we have these awesome circular tips which are on each corner. I also love the use of the ski stick element to make it look like a cross, and I just think it looks so good, especially from far away. Moving on, we come around to the right side where there's again one of those arrow slit windows, followed by some vines growing on the wall. And here we come to 3 awesome looking protruding window panels which look great from the outside. I like how they use the 2 half arch pieces to achieve a pointed arch look, which is accurate. There's also a cross section utilizing some 1x1 slope pieces. The windows themselves have transparent plates behind them which hold the window grills in place using a snot technique. And while you can't really see through these windows, it's not fully transparent. I think it's actually more accurate this way. In the Middle Ages, you never had fully transparent glass. Back then, glass had lots of imperfections and often appeared to have a warped effect. And I think that warped effect is also sort of represented here. Here we have some flowers in both white and magenta, which is a nice touch. Turning the building to the backside now, we have a larger window which just looks great. I really like how there are these cylinder pillars which are cross-sectioned by those 1x1 round slope pieces. I think it just looks amazing. Beyond the cross section, there is some stained glass which is made from different colored translucent plates. Further up, the middle window section is higher than the ones on the side, and we again see a smaller gear piece integrated within the window. What I think would have looked better would be if the entire window would have been made of that same stained glass technique rather than using the long transparent black pieces. Moving on to the other side here, you'll notice that there's a small protrusion in the building with the side door here, perhaps leading to a garden of some sorts or a small cemetery. There's lots of expansion potential with this specific side right here. I was also thinking that this building could be used as a monastery, with this door leading to one of those inner courtyards or cloisters that you'd see in a monastery. I could easily see myself adding some additional buildings coming out from the back of the church, all the way coming around to the tower, forming an inner courtyard. I think that would make for a really cool monastery. But anyway, here we also see 2 more of those protruding pointed arch windows, one on each side. And let's take a second to talk about the roof here, because it's not every day you see roofs in this color. Normally it would either be brown, tan, or black, but here it's orange with some nougat and brown pieces mixed in there to give it a good texture. I didn't expect to like it at first, but now having it put together, having it in my room next to my other medieval houses, I think the roof makes it stand out and really makes it look unique. Oh, and ignore the mess I have on the table right now. I'm currently working on a future mock, which will be another build series, so stay tuned for that. But now let's move on to the exciting part, the interior. The whole top orange roof section is held by a few jumper plates, so it comes right off to reveal a pretty detailed interior. On top of that, the tower's roof also comes off, along with its main tower section. So let's start from the main entrance right here. So as you walk in, there's a candle stand with some melted candles, which is a neat touch. And here's a better look at how that gear piece looks like from the inside. On the left here, we have the interior of the tower that we looked at earlier. Here we have a ladder as well as some storage space with a couple of barrels at the bottom there. The ladder leads us to the second floor of the tower, where we also have one of those barrels, and you can pose some minifigs here. And from this floor you can take another ladder up to the third floor of the tower, which holds the bell. It's a little tough to get your fingers in there, but you definitely can get a minifigure in there to ring the bell. If you really wanted to, you could also remove the bell to get easier access. It literally just sits in there with those 2 wooden pillars. Here's a closer look at the bell. You can see that there's a flexible hose piece that holds it up. Now the set actually comes with a very long hose piece which you're going to have to cut to match the size, but I decided to save it and use a smaller hose piece which I already had. Coming back down, we have another doorway here which leads to the main church area. Going through it, there are a couple of candles, one on each side, and we have 4 benches on the right side where you can comfortably fit 8 minifigs. And there's that side door that we looked at earlier on the left side. At the back of the room, we have a little stage area for the priest to hold ceremonies and preach to the citizens that are gathered around at the benches. There's also a lectern to hold a holy book or a manuscript that the priest may be reading. There's also a table with a gold cross, which is the same cross as the ones at the top of the building. You can also see how the window that was at the back of the church looks like from here with that gear piece above as well. Also, you can see those protruding side windows and how they are built, so they are basically just held by those headlight pieces which have holes on the back of them, which allows you to attach the window panels. I have to say though, while it looks great from the outside, it doesn't really look the best from the inside with those gaps in the back of the studs showing. I definitely have some modifications in mind, which I will implement and show you guys in a later video. Also, this area above the side door looks a little too squared off. I think just adding an arch there in that area would go a long way in maintaining that aesthetic. But overall, I like how there's plenty of space for minifigures to be positioned on the inside, which serves a great purpose, especially if you're like me and have amassed quite the Crusader army and need a place for them to gather around and prepare for yet another conquest in the Holy Land, then you can totally do that. But in all seriousness, this is one of the most realistic churches out there, and it's perfectly minifig scale with lots of space in the interior. You've got pretty much all the essentials of a medieval church with a bell tower, storage areas, the main ceremony hall, and even a back entrance which could lead to a garden, or could be an expansion of some sorts. I also really like the way it looks with the usage of dark gray pieces as sort of an outline going around the edges with the pattern and along the sides of the roof. It looks great from all angles, so it's great as a display piece if you'd want to set this up on a shelf. But I personally would be integrating this with my medieval town, which will actually be related to one of my future mock projects, so stay tuned for that. I truly think this would fit with any minifig scale medieval mock because churches were the central aspect of almost every medieval town or village, and this one is scaled well where it's not too large but also not too small, where you'd have to adjust the buildings around it to upscale or downscale just for your setup to look good. That being said, it does have a few small flaws which are more like quick fixes, first of which being the arrow slits and just turning those around. Another thing is that the side door doesn't actually open because of the round tiles making up the stone path. This can easily be fixed by simply removing the tiles, or if you'd really want to keep it, you can invert the door so that it opens inwards rather than outwards, and the windows on the interior might need some work if you want to really make it look perfect. But other than that, there are no real big downsides with this church set. The quality of the bricks is great. I had no issues with incompatibility when it came to that. On top of that, it's pretty safe to say that LEGO themselves won't be releasing something like this, as they usually tend to stay away from sensitive topics related to religion. I don't think they ever made a church set before, so this might actually be a great purchase for those of you who are looking for a good church design to add to your medieval city. If any of you guys are interested in picking this up, it will be linked in the description below. But that's all I've got for today. I really hope you enjoyed this review. I got a lot more videos planned, so I'll see you guys very soon. Goodbye.